Remember, you must die, and so you must truly live. Marcus Aurelius said, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." There's one truth every single human shares, one fate that levels kings and beggars alike: death. But while most people run from it, avoid thinking about it, distract themselves with meaningless pleasures, the Stoic stares it in the face. He whispers 2 words every day that make him walk with fire in his eyes. Memento Mori. Remember, you must die. At first glance, this might seem dark, even depressing. But here's the paradox. It's not a death sentence. It's the greatest liberation you will ever experience. Memento Mori isn't about fearing death. It's about becoming fearless in life. When you truly remember that you're going to die, when you actually let that reality hit your bones, suddenly all the petty things disappear. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You stop holding grudges. You stop chasing approval. You stop living for the opinions of others. Because now you see life for what it truly is, a short, fragile, unpredictable flame. And every second of it matters. Modern life has trained us to ignore death. We're told to stay positive, to focus on what's next, to plan for 5 years ahead, to scroll endlessly on our phones and numb the fact that every day we're dying a little. But the ancient Stoics believed the opposite. Only the man who thinks about death daily lives deeply. Seneca said, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life." And Epictetus warned, "Don't behave as if you are destined to live forever." Yet in today's world, men walk around angry, bitter, distracted, overwhelmed, not realizing that death is the ultimate filter. When you know your time is limited, your standards rise, your urgency increases, your clarity sharpens. You don't tolerate drama. You don't delay your purpose. You don't shrink from what matters. So why do so many people, especially men, feel aimless and stuck? Because they live like they're immortal. They avoid thinking about the end. And that's why their life has no edge, no urgency, no flame. Memento Mori is not about dying. It's about finally waking up. This video will take you through 9 Stoic insights that will radically shift how you think about time, choices, pain, love, ambition, and fear. We'll break through modern illusions like the chase for perfection, the fear of failure, the addiction to comfort, and rebuild your perspective from the core of Stoic philosophy. Each section is a challenge and a reminder that you don't have time to waste. You were meant to become something greater, and the clock is ticking. Stay with me till the end. This isn't just a script, it's a ritual. And if you let these lessons sink in, you won't just exist anymore. You'll live like a man who knows death walks beside him and smiles anyway. Let's begin. Number 1, the illusion of tomorrow. Why most men live like they'll never die. Seneca said, while we wait for life, life passes. You probably heard before, there's always tomorrow. It sounds harmless, maybe even hopeful. But to the Stoic, that's the most dangerous lie a man can believe. Why? Because tomorrow becomes a hiding place of the unfulfilled man. Most men today walk around with plans, dreams, conversations they'll have someday. They delay saying what matters. They delay pursuing what burns inside them. They stay in jobs that drain them. They tolerate relationships that break them. Why? Because they believe they have time. But here's the brutal truth. You don't. Memento Mori is a sword that cuts through this illusion. When you wake up every morning and whisper to yourself, "I could die today," you begin to live with a clarity that most people never taste. That doesn't mean you walk around paranoid or afraid. No, you walk around awake. You realize that your time is more precious than money. That attention is more sacred than popularity. That what you do today defines the only life you'll ever live. Most people avoid this truth because it's uncomfortable. But Stoics knew that discomfort is the key to wisdom. They rehearsed their own death, not to be morbid, but to be free. So let me ask you, if you were told this was your last week alive, what would change? Would you stop pleasing everyone? Would you finally leave that dead-end job? Would you speak the truth you've been silencing? Would you still scroll endlessly for hours? Would you love harder? Forgive faster? Stand taller? If the answer is yes, then you already know this. You've been living in the illusion of time. Memento Mori destroys that illusion. It forces you to act, to choose, to prioritize. And in doing so, it makes you dangerously alive in a world that sleeps. This is why Stoics were calm in chaos, unshaken by fate, and fearless in pain. They didn't wait to live. They remembered death and moved now. Number 2, turn pain into perspective. Why suffering is your sharpest teacher. Seneca said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Pain, the one thing every man runs from, and yet the only thing that truly forges him. In modern life, we're taught to escape pain, numb it with distraction, mask it with fake confidence, scroll it away, drink it away, sleep it away. But a Stoic man doesn't avoid pain, he investigates it. Because inside every wound is wisdom, and inside every heartbreak is a mirror that reflects what truly matters. Memento Mori amplifies this awareness. When you confront the truth that life is short and your end could be near, you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What can I learn?" Most men waste their suffering. They complain, blame, and spiral into weakness. But pain is never pointless unless you ignore it. A Stoic transforms suffering into clarity. Think about the most painful moments in your life. The betrayal, the loss, the regret. Those were not detours. They were teachers. The pain didn't break you. It revealed you. It showed you where you were fragile, where your ego was inflated, where your values were fake. It humbled you. It focused you. That's why when a Stoic is hurting, he does not seek pity. He seeks perspective. He asks, what did this pain expose in me? What attachment made this suffering possible? How can this sharpen my soul and strip me of what I don't need? Modern men think power is control, but Stoics knew the real power is in how you respond to what you can't control. Pain will visit every man, but whether it breaks you or builds you, that's a choice. Memento Mori reminds you, time is short. Wounds are sacred. Let every scar be a sword. Let pain shape your depth, not destroy your strength. Number 3, eliminate distraction. Time is the currency of the wise. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Distraction is the enemy of meaning. It's not death that robs you of life. It's the slow, invisible theft of your time by things that do not matter. We scroll while life passes. We chase dopamine hits while our purpose starves. We give our most sacred resource, attention, to things that leave us empty. Memento Mori demands a wake-up call. You're going to die. Maybe not today, but soon. And when that moment comes, will you regret how you use your time? The modern man is enslaved by distraction, notifications, endless content, gossip, porn, shallow goals. These aren't just addictions. They are escapes from purpose, from responsibility, from depth. But the Stoic doesn't run from responsibility. He anchors himself in it. When you live with the awareness of your mortality, every minute becomes sacred. You stop giving your time to people who drain you. You stop entertaining thoughts that don't serve you. You stop consuming content that dulls your mind. Instead, you ask, will this matter on my deathbed? Is this helping me become who I was born to be? Or am I trading my soul for temporary pleasure? Seneca said, you act like mortals in all that you fear, and like immortals in all that you desire. We fear death but live as if time is infinite. But a Stoic flips that. He embraces death and treasures his time. He builds systems to eliminate distraction. He says no. He cultivates focus. He makes his calendar a weapon for legacy, not a sponge for anxiety. When you understand Memento Mori, your entire relationship with time changes. You start living with intention, and that makes you unstoppable. Every scroll, every hour, every day is a trade. Trade wisely, because time is not money. Time is life, and it's ticking. Number 4, face your fears like a warrior, not a victim. Seneca said, "He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a living man." Fear controls more lives than any tyrant in history. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of loss. But at its root, all fear is the same, fear of death. And yet here's the paradox. The man who fears death most lives the least. The Stoics taught that fear is an illusion we create when we forget who we are, temporary beings, living in a temporary world, with one guarantee: it will end. And when you forget that, you start shrinking your life to avoid discomfort. You don't speak your truth because you fear judgment. You don't pursue her because you fear rejection. You don't start the business because you fear failure. And in protecting yourself from these small deaths, you're already dying slowly, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. But the Stoic sees fear differently. He meets it head on. Memento Mori doesn't remove fear. It transforms it. It whispers, "You will die anyway." So what exactly are you protecting? It challenges you. Would you rather live safe and silent, or dangerous and true? There is no courage without fear. There is no growth without resistance. There is no greatness without danger. The modern man is taught to avoid fear at all costs. But a Stoic sees it as a signal, a compass pointing to transformation. When you embrace mortality, you stop being a victim of fear. You become its master. You start seeing obstacles as invitations. Rejection becomes redirection. Loss becomes liberation. And fear becomes your fuel. A man who does not fear death no longer fears failure. And that man becomes truly dangerous, because nothing can stop him. So the next time fear knocks, answer with fire. Remember, you're going to die, but not today. And that means today you fight. Number 5, let go of grudges. Forgiveness is freedom. Marcus Aurelius said, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" Grudges feel powerful, like weapons we hold to protect ourselves from those who hurt us. But what if the weapon isn't pointed at them, but at you? In the Stoic worldview, holding on to anger, resentment, or bitterness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. You chain yourself to the past, to a moment you can't change, and in doing so, you sacrifice your present peace and future potential. Why? Because we mistake holding a grudge for maintaining strength. We think it means we have standards, that we're teaching someone a lesson, but in truth, we're just giving away power. That person who wronged you, they're not losing sleep. That betrayal, it happened once, but you're reliving it every day. That offense, it may have been real, but your suffering is now self-inflicted. This is why the Stoics believe that forgiveness is not about them. It's about you. You forgive not to excuse, but to release. You let go, not to make peace with them, but to make peace within. Memento Mori reminds us that life is too short for resentment. One day, both you and the person who wronged you will die. All that energy wasted on grudges will be gone with you. What will remain is what you built, how you loved, and how you lived. So what's stronger, holding on to pain or letting go of it? The Stoic chooses to free himself. He doesn't let his identity be shaped by victimhood. He doesn't let anger eat away his mind like rust on steel. He releases the poison. He keeps the lesson. He moves forward, because a man who can't forgive is a man still chained. And a Stoic was born to be unbound. Number 6, gratitude in the face of darkness, the ultimate mental power. Epictetus said, "He is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he is not, but rejoices for those which he has." In a world obsessed with what's missing, gratitude is an act of rebellion. But here's the truth. Gratitude is not reserved for sunny days. True Stoic gratitude is forged in the fire. When everything is falling apart, when life hits hardest, when you're left with less than what you think you deserve, and still you say, "I'm alive. I'm still breathing. I still have time to make this count." Most people believe gratitude is a reaction to comfort. The Stoic sees it as a strategy for strength. You don't wait to feel thankful, you practice it, even when nothing makes sense, even when pain visits without warning, even when you lose, fall, get betrayed, or suffer. Why? Because when you're grateful even in your darkest hour, you are untouchable. Gratitude doesn't ignore pain. It doesn't sugarcoat life. It simply chooses to see clearly, to recognize that even suffering has value, even sorrow teaches, even loss awakens. And that's the secret. When you learn to give thanks for everything, even the things that broke you, nothing can ever truly defeat you again. Imagine waking up, and before your mind races to what's missing, you anchor in what you still have. Imagine training your thoughts to immediately scan for strength instead of scarcity. Imagine building the mental habit of celebrating life, even while it's testing you. That's not naivety. That's dominance. Because a man who can be grateful in the fire will never be burned by it. So, in your quiet moments, whisper thank you, not just for the blessings, but for the struggles, for the pain, for the path. Because it's all shaping you into something more solid than steel. A man of calm, a man of clarity, a man of unshakable will. Number 7, detach from the outcome, master the process instead. Epictetus said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." The modern man is obsessed with outcomes. He wants the girl, the deal, the result, the applause. But what happens when life doesn't deliver? He breaks. That's because he tied his peace to external results, things he cannot fully command. And here's the brutal truth. You can give everything you have and still not win. The Stoic knew this long before the world started chasing viral success and dopamine hits. So what do? They detached from the outcome and fell in love with the process. Premeditatio malorum trains us to expect loss, delays, rejections, and failures. It prepares us not to be surprised when the world doesn't applaud our efforts. But more importantly, it teaches us to commit to the effort anyway, because the process is where your power lives. Want to be unbreakable? Stop measuring success by what happens after your action. Start measuring it by how deeply you committed to the action itself. The Stoic archer doesn't obsess over the bullseye. He sharpens his arrows, steadies his breath, masters his form, and lets go the moment he releases a string. Whether the arrow lands or misses, his job is done. You can love without needing someone to love you back. You can build without needing recognition. You can speak truth without needing applause. Because once your peace is no longer hostage to outcomes, you become free. This mindset isn't passive. It's powerful. It says, I will give everything and expect nothing. And that makes me untouchable. Detach from the results. Attach to the process. And you'll no longer be a man begging for success. You'll become the man who embodies it. Number 8, train for the worst day, so no day can break you. Seneca said, "It is not that we are given a short life, but we make it short by wasting it." What if you trained your mind every day? As a disaster were guaranteed tomorrow. That's the power of premeditatio malorum. It's not just theory, it's mental armor. It says, "Prepare for the storm when the skies are blue." Because once you're ready for your worst day, no day can break you. Most people go through life hoping nothing bad happens. The Stoic does the opposite. He expects hardship, not because he's pessimistic, but because he understands that adversity is inevitable, and weakness in the face of adversity is a choice. You don't become strong by reacting to chaos. You become strong by rehearsing it. Ask yourself this: what would I do if I lost my job tomorrow? What would I do if the person I love walked away? What would I do if I was betrayed, embarrassed, humiliated? If your answer is, "I don't know," then you're vulnerable. But if your answer is, "I'll adapt, I'll breathe, I'll stand firm, I'll let go of what I cannot control and focus on what I can," then congratulations, you're practicing Stoic preparation. Here's how to train. Every morning, imagine something going wrong. Not to fear it, but to build mental calluses. Visualize your reaction. See yourself calm, composed, grounded. Then go about your day knowing you're armored. Life may surprise you, but it won't shake you. The Stoic warrior doesn't get blindsided by life's blows. He welcomes them as rehearsals for greatness. He doesn't fear the worst. He trains for it. Because when the worst comes and you're ready, that's when you become invincible. Number 9, master the art of letting go before life forces you to. Seneca said, "He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a man who is alive." There's one guarantee in life: you will lose. People, moments, status, health, beauty, life itself. But here's the truth most men avoid. The pain of loss doesn't come from losing. It comes from not letting go. Most suffering is not in the event. It's in the resistance. It's in the clenching of what was and the refusal to accept what is. Memento Mori teaches us to master the art of letting go before life forces our hand. Think about it. You won't have the same people forever. Your youth won't last. Your career will one day end. Relationships may fade. And if you wait until loss shows up to prepare your heart, you'll break. But if you let go now, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you become unshakable. This doesn't mean you stop caring. This means you stop clinging. Here's how to practice. Every morning, remind yourself, everything I love is on loan from fortune. It may be reclaimed at any moment, and I will not resist. Look at your partner, your job, your possessions, and whisper inside, I am ready to lose this and still be whole. When discomfort shows up, observe it. Don't fight. Don't suppress. Just let go. The Stoic doesn't lose less. He just suffers less because he rehearsed the goodbyes before they happened. And so when they arrive, he's not broken. He's already free. Don't wait until life pries things from your grip. Release them while your hands are still full, because that's when you realize you never needed them to be whole. Letting go isn't weakness. It's the final proof of your internal strength. Final Stoic advice. Die daily, live fully, the Stoic way. Death is not your enemy. It's your coach, a brutal, honest, but loving force that removes the illusions we build our lives around. Memento Mori is not about being obsessed with dying. It's about becoming fearless in living. Most men live like cowards, not because they lack strength, but because they pretend they have time. They delay the important things. They bite their tongue when truth is needed. They chase comfort instead of greatness. They stay in toxic relationships, dead-end jobs, and shallow routines because they think there's always tomorrow. But what if there's not? Stoicism doesn't ask you to believe in death. It asks you to stand face to face with it every single day. To wake up and remember, life is short. Time is your most precious currency. And one day, without warning, you'll be gone. That pressure isn't meant to break you. It's meant to purify you. When you live with death on your shoulder, you stop tolerating what drains your soul. You speak boldly. You love deeply. You act with purpose. You stop being a slave to the trivial and rise as a disciplined, present, dangerous man. You no longer live as if you have forever. You live as if this is the moment you've been given. And that's how you become immortal in impact, even if you're mortal in body. So here's my challenge to you. Die daily in your thoughts. Let your old self go. Let your fear go. Let your excuses go. And then live like a man who's running out of time. Because you are. There's a Stoic Desire, where we sharpen our minds with ancient fire. If you're ready to live without fear, to act with power, to master your emotions and your mission, subscribe now. Because on this channel, we don't chase dopamine. We chase discipline. We don't fear the end. We prepare for it and use it to live fully. Memento Mori. Remember death so you can finally remember how to live.